Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
I started off as a painter. I've created artwork all my life. I was not selling anything, which was frustrating. So you go to your spouse and you complain. And he said, well, why don't you try this? So he basically taught me how to work with metal. Taught me how to weld. He taught me how to work at the anvil, how to work with the forge. I'm gonna insert the rod and I'm gonna make some acorns. And I make a little bit more money with metal than I do with painting. So this is a copper piece. I use a permanent marker instead of like soapstone or something. That'll flake off as I'm hitting it. Well, what I'll be doing is I'll be taking a cross peen and hitting it like this. And this tells me which direction to go. Basically, I can just do it without thinking. Yeah, you get tired after a while. It took a while to build up the strength. So that's what I'll do now. At this point, I've got pretty much all the texture I want on it. So I'll put it in the fire. So I'll let that heat up. I don't want to do anything else because it will melt if I don't pull it out in time, okay? We'll reopen it. There, it's open. Start that. What I want to do is hammer down the stems. Okay. Now I'll start making the branch. I'll start with a piece of 1/2 inch square side. I'll open this leaf. I'll let that cool. This is a rounded off chisel. And what I'll be doing is I'll making line impressions into my leaves. So I want to follow this line. And there's two sets of chisels that I'll be using for this. This one that's straight, and then a curved one. What I need is a soft backing so that it makes a deep impression. This past fall we had demonstrated at the Hack and Sack chainsaw event. And I lost my favorite hammer there. So now I'm having to put up with her, and this is too light. So, but I need a heavier hammer because it's just not making deep impressions like I like. Yeah, there we go. Somebody asked me once if I cast these. So they thought it looked so real, and they aren't cast at all. First thing I do is I go out and I see if I can find some leaves. And I had to dig them out of the snow a little bit. Then take them back into the shop and trace around them on sheet metal. And that's hot. Once it cools down, it gets really hard to move. So if I can heat it up, it moves just like clay. Yeah, actually we could probably start working the end. What I'll be doing is I'll be drawing it down to a point. more heat and I'll hammer it up here. Oops. I'll heat it up again, stick it in the vise, and start putting random twists back and forth. I mean, it's a constant resistance. Hot steel moves just like modeling clay. If you wanted to learn how to blacksmith, you can get some modeling clay and lay it out on your table, take a hammer, and just play, and you'll see how steel moves when it's hot. Now what I'll do is I'll reheat it and I'll run it through the hammer again. Obviously, the hotter it is, the easier it's going to be to move. Now what I'm going to do is come to the anvil. Okay, are you ready? The hotter it is, the easier it's going to be to cut. If you have a yellow heat, I mean, it's just really easy. The more orange, the more red, it's going to have more resistance. And I love leaving texture in my work. It's just people, anytime somebody goes up and touches my work, it's a huge compliment. It's just a huge compliment because that tells me I put enough texture in there. Copper's a softer metal, definitely conducts heat a lot quicker, easier, which also means it melts faster. So you have to watch it while it's in the forge. It's a lot easier to work with. I like it. Yeah, there we go. That looks okay, huh? Here, let's bend up our branch a bit better. That should be good, huh? And then I'll cheat and I'll pour it in the water. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of lay it out first where I want them. Just want to remember where everything is. Okay, I think I'll go with that. And I think this would be kind of a wall hanging. Okay. So I think I'll weld first. Okay, now I'm moving to this one. Now, copper has to get brazed onto it, can't get welded on. Okay, now it's a matter of buffing off that and then buff down my weld. Take a wire wheel and brush off all the slag and the dirt and the scale. I'm polishing it up. You're able to see the actual steel. By removing the scale and then putting a clear coat on it, it won't rust. It'll help protect it, make it last longer. To get the color in the steel, it has to be shiny. So I wire wheel it, and then I'll take an oxyacetylene torch and very carefully heat it up until it starts to turn. And when it starts to turn, then I need to back off because you don't want to go back to black. My belief is that you're created to do certain things. My faith is that I was created to be an artist. If you're not doing what you were created to do, you're not going to be happy. So do what you love. I do organic forms because I love nature. So do what you love and then try to figure out a way to make a living at it.
If you enjoyed this segment of Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground, consider making a contribution at lptv.org. If you have segment ideas pertaining to North Central Minnesota, contact us at legacy@lptv.org. Common Ground is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund by the vote of the people on November 4th, 2008.